the Geology Department. Once again, welcome to this episode of the Mansa Kunda, the Ministerial Town Hall. As usual, the initiative is brought to you by the Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services in our drive to promote proactive disclosure of information. Every 2 weeks, we do our best to keep that schedule. We bring a sector minister and his entire team to interface with the public, so the public can ask relevant questions about the activities of that particular sector, but also to give the public the chance to ask relevant questions as well to the Honorable Minister and his team. We also give the Minister the opportunity to explain to the public the achievements of the sector, the policies, programs, but also the initiatives. Today we have a very important sector, the Ministry of Petroleum, Energy and Mines. And the minister is nobody but Honorable Nani Juwara. I think we've gone a long way. A lot of progress has been made. I think we are one of the few countries, if not the only country, yet to be corrected by the minister, that will achieve universal access to electricity in the continent before any other country. Maybe I might be wrong, I might be correct, but the minister will have. What I can tell you is that we are on course to achieve that very, very important milestone. I remember when His Excellency came to power in 2017, the electricity sector was in shambles to the extent that there was a protest called Dafadoy, when young people went to the streets to protest because of the lack of electricity access. Today that is history. So it's a very important sector. We'll also talk about the petroleum sector, because the sector doesn't only focus on energy, they also focus on the petroleum sector, but also the mining sector. We have a chance to ask those questions today. Honorable Minister, you and your team, welcome. But before I proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the President. Babukar Usmaila Juf is here with us today. We have the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Demba Sabali Boy, is here today. And we have the Head of the Civil Service and Secretary to Cabinet, Mr. Ali Njai, is also here today. We have also our partners from the Embassy of the People's Republic of China. They also came to, I think I'll just take this opportunity to say that the People's Republic of China is a strategic partner to the Gambia, and they've been also supporting the energy sector. That is why they're here to also listen and to understand what's happening in the sector. We also have the PS Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Information. She's here, Mrs. Kodu Jabang. Then we have the Director of Department of Information Services, Isa Davis. We have the Advisor to the Minister of Information, Mr. Kebature, is also here. Now, the risk you find yourself in when you start introducing by names, you tend to forget, or you don't know some other people. I think I've come so far. That's the end of the road for me. For the others, I'm not sure. I don't want to, I know the names, but not the designation. So you might, I seek your indulgence to forgive me. But we have senior government officials from the ministry, I believe, who are also here with us, but also all senior government officials who are present here today. Welcome to this week's Mansa Kunda. I know we're all anticipating, we're all eager to hear from the minister. He's very rare. I'm not sure he's done so many media appearances. So today is a chance for him to tell us exactly what is happening in this sector. Mbadingol, mbal tentula mbal jela, mbal kontona bake fang, milyalong ko wolle ben jube kang animbe moy kan radio to anin telal to. Mom yalong ko banko dingolong eben jube kambi fu be gambe jang ebe bantala bankon kang be kontona bake fang bi ngalun tambale soto na Mansa Kunda kon kak nyame lokum fula. Nka minister kilin fi nang anim banko dingole si kacha. Isaje asafu banko dingol abi mun do ko sifal ala sector to. Ba banko dingol finance nyinin karo me anon ko lafta kala mon be ke minister la sector to. Bi do nga minister kumari bale soro jang. Ba kurangom be ngalo ne ko bi me tembo men do tenting mote balu no la balu nyimmani man kurango soto. Minister do miala ate mararin kulango la fo bi gambe tunnol be de ma balbi de be kurango soto andum president la hido di ko dandin ni sango be banna dawoda be gambia jang bawo gambe ngol be kurango be futala jela andum jamfata bake do ko jamfata wobe ala do ko kendo abe minna ala sector to aning ala do ko nyol mialon ko wolle ba feño jambi kabo GNPC ala permanent secretary kabo e ka famile ko di Petroleum Commission aning ala Geology director. Nim ministry dung ika fatile Minister of Petroleum, energy and mines wala mundi atele mararing fengo fe mialon ko tuloning essence bundala bari fanan bankola nema fengol e ka fo miye ko mines aning fanan kurango bunda woto bi kacabe kumayala momo nyinin karo soro mialon ko wultata ala do ko la fanna la sa nyinin kano ate fanan fengo fe mialon ko wala mutari ngabulu o do ko bunda la fanan sa fo banko dingol le dandimbe jam fala dum ka foko alfa kumari mbalbe sirin jambe mialon ko nata kana ma be nyim Mansa Kunda wala jumalti ministre mialon ate mararing trade like ka fa sandi rol bundanin do ko bundanin industry ka fa rol Baboucarr Diouf abe janne Demba Sabali honorable Demba Sabali ministre mialon ate mararing seno bundala ministre mialon ate mararing public service la wala Mansa Kunda do ko lalla karola fannala minister of public service afana be janne Baboucarr Boy honorable ane ministre mialon ko ate civil service kunti ya ka fa Aliou Mr Aliou Ndiaye head of the civil service abe janne ngalun tan do fanan sodo jang e ka fo me senior public official sol fanan be janne ni civil servants e ka fo me le ko director sol be janne PSol be janne advisor be janne ibebe sirin jambi bari fanan luntangol mialon ko bota embassy of the People's Republic of China and embassy dol fanan ma beri jambi oto bi katabe kummala abe na faso la pour ka fo banko dingole do ko mialon ko ministre be wala ala do ko bundato bawo president ye la fonyere ko amala filotara banko dingol ni Mansa Kunda tema ba Mansa Kunda mo karafolati nin moy karafa fenna dong foy sena watini wadi ka fa o karafa on ayamuta nyaadele wala nan kany Mansa Kunda programme oto bi ministre bina ba fala nga karafa bunda minna wolong essence bunda nin tulul bunda nin bankola nemol bunda nin kurango bunda abe mundo kusifa la fo banko dingol salong mone be kering oto mimu kulti mi anaka kumata bake mbokay di len nuyu di len dalal tay suñ Mansa Kunda Ministerial Town Hall comme niñ ko di defé rek ñaari semaine bu nekk nañ isi benn ministre mo ñëw waxtaan ak askan bi mu jàkkaarloog askan bi wax askan bi li nga xam ne loolu la moo liggéey si jawriñ buñ ko dénka waaye tamit jox askan bi li nga xam ne mooy opportunité pour ñu laaj ministre bi li nga xam ne moom la moo liggéey si jawriñ buñ ko dénka te nag am nañ fi ministre bu nga xam ne am na solo ministre bi nga xam ne nag moom lañ dénka jawri ni mbiri diw yi ak mbiri courant bi waaye ak mbiri li nga xam ne mooy alali réew mi mooy mines mooy suuf la ndax xeer la ndax ak yene me noonu ministre bi nag moom moo honorable Nani Juwara ñëw na fi ak ñi nga xam ne ñooñu la moo liggéeyal ki mel ni director of GNPC mu ngi fi ki nga xam ne mooy permanent secretary mu ngi fi ki jiite Petroleum Commission baa fi ba pare tamit ki jiite Geology tam mu ngi fi kon ñu dalal suñ gan yu mag yi honorable Nani Juwara ak ñi nga xam ne ñooñu la àndal te nag waxtaan bi dina am solo comme que mbiri courant ñëpp am nañ ci solo ñëpp am nañ ci li nga xam ne mooy am nañ ci interest parce que courant mooy lépp mooy tax ba ñu am dund boo xam ne dund bu sella la kon tey dina am solo parce que ñun nguuri Adama Barrow dafa joxe ndigal ne waaye tamit dafa promise ne bala at bi di jeex bépp tund boo mën a dem Gambia tey dinañ am courant te ñu ngi ci yoon boobu noonu jël leen jéego yoo xam ne yëfi courant du nekkaat li nga xam ne dinañ ci am ay jafe-jafe kon ministre bi ñu ngi ko jaajëfal di ko gërëm ci liggéey bu rafet bi nga xam ne moom la moo def ak timam bi comme niñ ko defee rek lu tax ñuy am programme bi mooy réeroo bu mu am diggante nguur gi ak askan bi président dafa wane bëggoon réeroo boobu am parce que nguur dénkaane la te dénkaane dafa foor lu ñu la dénka nag foo nga ñëw di waxtaan ak askan bi di leen wax lan nga ti dénkaane bi kon tey ministre bi nañu wax moom liñ ko dénka moo jawriñ bi amee mbiri diw bi ak courant bi mu wax ñu naka lañ ko téye ak yan liggéey la nekk di def foofu noonu kon waxtaan bi tey dina am solo di nuyu ñëpp di wax ne am na kilifa yu mag yu fi teewu fii tey ku mel ni honorable Dramé Moussa Dramé ministre bi nga xam ne moom moo amee wàllu jën yi waaye moom du ma demee jën nag loolu ma si jaaxal mu ngi fi ak ministre ak wàllu ndox yi water resources ak National Assembly moom moo amee ministre boobu noonu ñu am minister of public service mooy képp ku xam ne yaa ngi liggéey si nguur service bi ki nga xam ne moom mooy seen ministre bi kii def reform si foofu noonu mooy Baboucarr Boy moom fi ki nga xam ne nag moom moo téye si wàllu mbéy mi mooy honorable honorable Demba Sabali mu ngi fi ak ki nga xam ne mooy wàllu njënd ak njaay bi ak wàllu xëy ki nga xam ne moom mooy honorable Baboucarr Diouf moom tam mu ngi fi ki jiite civil service bi yëpp nag nekk secretary cabinet ki nga ooyee Aliou Ndiaye moom tam mu ngi fi di leen dalal yéen ñëpp di leen jox seen wàccuwaay kenn ku nekk si yéen di dalal ñi nga xam ne tamit moom mooy suñ gan yu jógee si embassy of the People's Republic of China waaye tamit am nañu fi ay kilifa ñi nga xam ne ñu jógee si public service bi ak civil service bi permanent secretary yaa ngi fi director yaa ngi fi advisor yaa ngi fi ak ñëpp ñu nga xam ne ñëw nañ ànd si ak ministre bi ak timam bi di leen dalal bu baax a baax di dalal suñ media team bi si liggéey bu rafet bu la neexee di nuyu ñëpp nag faate wuñ kenn di wane fu mu toll ni waxtaan gi dina neex te dina am maanaa comme nuñ ko dee defee rek saa yu nekk dañoo oo ministre bi mu ñëw waxtaan ak ñun wax ñu moom jawriñ buñ ko dénka naka la ko tii yan jéego la nekk di def pour gis ne lépp loo xam ne dafa bokka si liggéeyam bi mu ngi ko def ni mu ko war a defee nañ ko may 20 minutes mu wax loolu su paree si angale ñoo pièsam ku ñoo tënkal ñu waxtaan bi si local language bi xam naa soose la moo nekka xam naa ne déggut olof so na ko wax si soose pour ñi nga xam ne tamit dégguñ angale ñu xam la moo nekka di dox si secteur bi nii kon honorable minister mu laa dalal nga ñëw commencé waxtaan bi jërëjëf.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for information. Truly, this government is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Ministers here present, our friends from the People's Republic of China, the embassy, other diplomatic members here present, senior government officials from various ministries and departments here present, distinguished audience, the media, good evening, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We are very pleased and delighted to come here this evening to update you on the activities of the Ministry of Petroleum, Energy and Mines. We are very much aware of the importance and relevance of the various sectors within the ministry's purview and their contribution to the socio-economic development and advancement of our beloved homeland, the Gambia. I'll begin with the petroleum sector. In accordance with Section 29 of the Petroleum Exploration, Development and Production Act 2004, the minister responsible for petroleum is mandated to grant licenses for the conduct of exploration, development, and exploitation of oil and gas. The Petroleum Commission Act of 2021 mandates the Petroleum Commission to regulate and manage upstream as well as midstream petroleum activities, while the Petroleum Products Act of 2016 mandates PURA with the regulation of downstream. In 2017, the ministry secured the support from the African Development Bank through the Africa Legal Support Facility, which reviewed and designed the Model Petroleum Exploration and Production License Agreement, called PEPLA, and approved by Cabinet. Following extensive data acquisition, surveys, seismic data, including 2D and 3D, has been acquired in partnership with third-party multi-client service providers. A total of about 3,800 square kilometers of 3D seismic data has been acquired since 2017, out of a total of about 8,500 square kilometers of 3D acquired and 6,000 square kilometers high resolution multi-beam bathymetric data was also acquired, complete with log suits from 2 wells that have been drilled with an extensive volume of cuttings and cores. A comprehensive and integrated data management system is being developed. To date, 5 exploration wells have been drilled in the Gambia. The first 2 wells, Brikama 1 and Serakunda 1, were drilled onshore in 1960 and 1961, respectively, by British Petroleum, commonly called BP. The third well, Jama 1, was drilled offshore in 1979 by Chevron. The fourth well, Samo 1, was drilled by FAR and Petroleum offshore. That's about 39 years after the first well or wells were drilled in the Gambia. And this is almost about 39 years ago. This was done in 2018. The Samo 1 was drilled by FAR and Petroleum. To put this into context, it is worth noting from 1960 to 2018, only one offshore well was drilled in the Gambia. However, from 2018 to date, 2 offshore exploration wells were drilled. Currently, out of 8 offshore exploration blocks, we have one company called Petroleum that is on one of the blocks called Block A4. We have amplified our promotion of our acreages this year, and we are working on key factors that make the investment climate attractive for investors to come into our oil sector. One of such is a holistic review of all the laws that interact with the petroleum sector to ensure inconsistencies, gaps, etc. are eliminated. We are currently working on a new petroleum exploration, development, and production bill that reflects current industry best practices and free of inconsistencies with other laws. We are also working on other legislations that would promote investment in upstream petroleum subsector, and we count on everyone's support so that we get all these legislations through. From 2017 to date, the licenses were FAR Petroleum, which was a joint venture, the British Petroleum, BP, and Petroleum. A summary of their activities are hereby outlined. FAR was assigned 80% of Block A2 and A5 licenses in 2017, following a farm-in agreement with Erin that held the remaining 20%. In 2018, Petronas was subsequently assigned 40% of FAR shares in Block A2 and A5 licenses. This was followed by the exit of Erin, and the remaining 20% was reverted to government. BP was granted Block A license in 2019, which BP surrendered in September 2021 due to change of their corporate strategy to clean and green energy. Petrono was granted a license in 2020. This was part of a settlement of the arbitration with African Petroleum, which restored A4 license to Petrono, who took over from Africa Petroleum. FAR and BP conducted geological and geophysical, geotechnical, environmental studies. FAR and Petrono drilled 2 wells in fulfillment of their license obligations. Petrono has conducted geological, geophysical studies, fulfilling its license obligations, which exclude drilling of a well. Therefore, all these 3 companies complied with the terms and conditions of their licenses, including support to our communities as part of their corporate social responsibility. However, after failing to find oil in Samo and Bambo wells in 2018 and 2021 respectively, both FAR and Petronas exited the A2 and A5 licenses. After submitting all the necessary documents, information, and records, my ministry issued closure certificate to FAR. The total revenue of about US 70 million and 72,647 was received from 3 license holders between 2017 to date. We are currently at an advanced stage of engagement with companies interested in acquiring licenses on other oil blocks, and the negotiations are well advanced. The Gambia National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, through its exploration and production department, has exercised its mandate to participate in petroleum operations, specifically in the area of onshore exploration. As part of this effort, an official proposal to acquire a license for the onshore exploration blocks in the Gambia was submitted by GNPC and has now moved to the next phase of the project. Finally, negotiations with the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy using the Model Petroleum Exploration and Production License Agreement for the onshore areas remain underdeveloped, and we have less data coverage than offshore areas. And therefore, GNPC's work program will involve the de-risking of the basin by acquiring preliminary and basic data to kickstart modern data acquisition along interested future partners. We are also happy to report that we are also part of the Africa Gas Pipeline Project. The intergovernmental agreement and the host government agreements were finalized and adopted by ECOWAS heads of state on the 15th of December 2024. The 5,600 kilometer Nigeria to Morocco gas pipeline project will pass through the Gambia and other West African countries along the Atlantic coast. And we expect this to cost, the entire cost of the project will be about $25 billion US. GNPC continues to participate in this prestigious African Atlantic gas pipeline project, a single pipeline project as part of the technical and steering committee meetings. Previously, site selection was done for the location of the landfall, which is going to be located in Sanyang, where we also have our deep sea project, deep sea port project expansion. And this will help in terms of logistical support and also economic benefit to the country when fully implemented. And we also have another alternative in terms of the landing site, which is going to be in Batokungu as an option. Government has a deliberate policy in expanding petroleum supply networks countrywide. And as such, GNPC has been tasked by the government of the Gambia to take this drive and expand its operations in most part of the country. And as such, GNPC has already commissioned two new stations, one in Esau and the other in Basse. These are state-of-the-art containerized mobile stations, and it puts GNPC in the forefront of technology in the marketing of fuel in the Gambia. GNPC Kanifing service station, which was demolished during the construction of the Battle Harding Highway, is now reconstructed and in full operations since September 2024. GNPC has an internally developed automated coupon system, which is one of the best in the market. The system automatically redeems coupons, deactivates sold coupons, and monitors the real-time circulation of printed coupons. The energy sector, and basically NAWEC activities, which is more centered around the clarion call by His Excellency to provide universal access to electricity before the end of 2026. As such, the government targets universal electricity access by 2026, end of 2026, and we hope to achieve 90% coverage by the end of 2025. We are developing a compact program for the support, through the support from the World Bank and African Development Bank with other philanthropic organizations under the Mission 300 agenda to provide access to 300 million people in Africa before 2030. You might want to know that in sub-Saharan Africa, almost above 600 million people are without power. And because of that, World Bank, African Development Bank with other partners have come together and launched a mission to electrify minimum 300 million people before the SDG 7 comes to an end, which is 2030. And as such, we are also lucky to be selected as part of those countries that are also going to benefit from this compact program. So together with the World Bank, we have developed our compact program, and which was validated. And currently, with the local office of the World Bank, and we hope this will be taken to the board in September, and we hope it will be approved so that we start implementations as scheduled. We are very lucky. Under his leadership, His Excellency President Barrow is committed also to provide additional local financing up to the tune of about $500 million to electrify some of the unelectrified communities in some of the consequences that have not got full qualification, such as Nyamina East, Nyamina West, Lower Fladu, Lower Salum, and Upper Salum. These are communities that were also partially electrified, and we have committed some local funds from now against 2026 to be able to cover the remaining communities in these consequences. We are promoting the development of mini-grids in hard-to-reach areas such as Jinak. We all know it's an island. There's no electricity in that community, and also the extension of the power line would be impossible because there is UNESCO designated area, and that we cannot pass through. And as such, we have to look for a mini-grid. We have already secured funding through the UNDP, and we hope this project would be implemented this year as well. And the people of Jinak will also see, for the first time in the history of their lives, electricity during the presidency of President Barrow. We are also targeting other communities, including Jaula in Wuli. Of course, I'm not biased. I'm from Wuli. So this was identified. I was not aware of it, so I hope nobody will blame me. This will add to the existing mini-grids in Nyamanar, Saredemba Toro, and efforts are at high gear to secure funding for the extension of the 225 transmission line from Jarasoma to Basse, which we call the Eastern Backbone. And that will help us significantly. If we are able to achieve that, that means we can have a national grid. So you can send power from Greater Banjul area all the way to Basse, and vice versa. In the area of clean cooking, the government plans to develop clean cooking strategy that is gender responsive and driven by private sector, aimed at increasing the national clean cooking access rate from the current 2% to 15% by 2030. We have distributed over 200,000 efficient cooking stoves to all the regions as part of our climate mitigation and adaptation strategies. This is complemented with the distribution and promotion of LPG and electricity for cooking by utilizing energy-efficient electric cookers. We are also working very hard to reinforce our transmission and distribution, both within the Greater Banjul area and also in the provinces. We are all witness to the recent inauguration of the first 225 kilovolt that is funded through the World Bank, EIB, and European Union, and was commissioned by His Excellency the President just early this year. And this is going to enable NAWEC to be able to dispatch electricity to the Greater Banjul area with quality, and also help us to reduce losses, and at the same time give us the opportunity to increase our renewable energy share of our energy mix. Because if we don't have a stable transmission network, it is going to be impossible for you to use a lot of renewable energy, particularly solar, which is a variable energy. It varies. If there is no sun, for example, or there's a cloud cover, normally we experience significant drops. So if that occurs and you don't have a network that is resilient, that is robust, sometimes you face a lot of instabilities, and we are very glad that we are able to achieve this during the presidency of His Excellency President Barrow. Together with this infrastructure, we also have the state-of-the-art National Control Center for the first time in the history of this country, where our network can be monitored remotely from a location. And we are grateful, Your Excellency, for giving us the opportunity and also to witness this during our time. We have been clamoring for this infrastructure, and it cannot come at a better time than when we are also yearning to achieve universal access. We thank our donors, particularly the World Bank, EU, and AIB, for their continued support to the sector. The transmission and distribution network across all regions of this country. The OIC Electricity Enhancement Project, which was launched in November 2020, is progressing very well. This is about 10 million. This is going to help us to upgrade our Bigelow substation, which is currently overloaded. The substation there is within a growth area, and the demand is very high, and that's the more reason why, even if we have the generation capacity, sometimes in the evenings, we load shed. It's now overloaded. The demand is higher than the capacity of the transformer. And the OIC support is going to double the capacity from 10 MVA now to 20 MVA. And that will definitely cater for the future. With our efforts, we have a number of access projects that are also ongoing. Electricity Restoration and Modernization Project. It has 3 covering CRR, URR, and North Bank regions. In CRR alone, this project is providing access to 134 communities. And in URR, communities. And in North Bank region, 76 communities are being provided with access to electricity from this project. And a total of 444 communities, the total number of communities that are going to be provided access to electricity through these 3 projects would be 414. And this will definitely provide access to 20,591 households in these 3 regions. In addition, we also benefited from the ECOWAS Renewable Energy Access Project, which we call ECORIP. This project is providing access to over 395 communities, 103 in CRR, 85 communities in LRR, and 115 communities in the North Bank region, and 92 communities in the West Coast region. A total of about 395 communities are going to benefit, and these communities are going to get their electricity commission, inshallah, by December 2025, including Njogon. So this project, almost about 52,000 households will be connected. We also have another project called JIP. This is funded through the African Development Bank. A total of about 147 communities are going to be electrified. And these projects are all ongoing as we speak. In CRR, 111 communities are going to be electrified through this project. North Bank region, 27, West Coast region, 9. And a total of over 10,000 households will also benefit from this electrification project. We don't want to forget where President Barrow started, and that was his motivation to ensure everyone in this country gets electricity before end of 2026. And this was the electricity expansion project, which was funded through the Indian line of credit. And this was the first project that he commissioned in Kiang. And this was in 2020. And you know, His Excellency, before the commission of that project, he was always telling me, Nani, Kiang kolo batata de. And we promised him Kiang would be electrified, and indeed Kiang is electrified. As we speak, all the Kiangs, Kiang West, Kiang Central, are all connected. The network from Kalaji, for the first time in the history of this country. So the Kiankals are no more going to Soma to buy ice block. They are getting now ice block in their own homes, backyards. So this is a great achievement for the government of the day. To enhance electricity transmission and distribution infrastructure within the Greater Banjul area and beyond, thereby increasing access and reliable, efficient electricity, the electricity master plan was developed in 2021 to 2040, which was developed in 2017 initially, and it was updated, and now it's from 2021 to 2040. This was factored in the required energy capacity from imports and local generation. We are diversifying our generation by adopting renewable energy sources, which culminated in the construction of our first utility-scale 23-megawatt solar plant in Jambur. This is the reality. Gambia, like all other countries, we are all transitioning. We all want to move from our dependence on fossil fuel to renewables so that we can make energy cheaper for our people. We are all complaining the cost of energy as end users. But if we continue the same mode of production as we were doing since independence, the cost of energy will never go down in this country. And that's the more reason why the focus has now shifted, like all other countries, to now move towards renewables. And that's why we are lucky to get funding from the World Bank, EIB, and EU to have our first utility-scale 23-megawatt solar plant in Jambur, and which was commissioned in February 2024 by His Excellency President Adama Barrow. In order to upscale our renewable share of our energy mix, we have also launched a 50 megawatts solar IPP tender. And as we speak, it has been evaluated, and we hope we should be able to sign the contract before the end of this year. And if that contract is signed before the end of this year, we will also launch another tender for 100 megawatts to be located within the same area, which is going to be in Jarasoma, because that is very close to the OMVG substation, and it will be easier to inject power from the plant to the grid from that substation with minimal cost. And the land has already been secured. We are working hard to make sure the necessary compensation is paid as well. So we'll be asking for Honorable Keto to support. One of the flagship projects, which is the EcoRip, I've already said this before, is providing access to almost about 395 communities. And this is part of the broader ECOWAS support to all the ECOWAS member countries, not all ECOWAS member countries, but the Gambia, Mali, Guinea-Bissau. These three countries have been identified. We were lucky. All the money that we received for this project, which is about $66 million US, all came as a grant. So this is helping. Most of the projects that we are implementing are all grant funding. And as such, we will continue to push to achieve this universal access as directed by the President. Updates, I'll now move to water, because I don't want to forget. This is NAWEC. It's not only about electricity. On the waterfront, we have a number of projects. The rehabilitation of water and sanitation network project, which is also funded through the OIC. OIC gave us about $22.5 million to help improve the water supply situation within the Greater Banjul area. And we call it OIC concentrated areas. This project is going to have a treatment plant in Sanyang, and we'll build a water storage tank in Sanyang of a capacity of 1,500 cubic meters, and also in Salaji. And these projects are ongoing right now. Construction works are ongoing, and we hope we should be able to conclude these projects by the end of the year, if not early part of 2026. We also have another support from the French Development Agency, and this project was already, the foundation was led by His Excellency the President in May of this year. And this is going to be located, the treatment plant is going to be located in C4. And a number of boreholes have already been drilled to support this project. And this will help significantly in improving the water supply situation, not only in the Kombo South area, but also in the Greater Banjul area, including KM and Banjul. Under the Gambia Electricity Restoration and Modernization Project, the World Bank has also supported in the water sector. Of course, not as big as in the electricity, but we got some support to drill 14 boreholes, 10 of which is currently being done in the Greater Banjul area. All the boreholes have been drilled, and in the next few weeks, they'll all be commissioned, and this will help to bolster the water supply within the Greater Banjul area as well. And they have also supported in drilling 3 boreholes in the North Bank region and also 1 borehole in LRR. In total, about 16,915 households will benefit from this project in the West Coast region, and 3,667 households in the North Bank region will benefit, and 1,833 households, respectively, in Lower River region will benefit. The project is almost about 95% complete, so we hope this will be commissioned very soon. His Excellency will have a lot of work to do in 2026 because we'll just be inaugurating and inaugurating and inaugurating. Now I'll move to the Geological Department. The government has signed a prospecting license agreement with a Norwegian Gambia mining company to explore polymetric nodules within the Gambia Exclusive Economic Zone, which has started in earnest. This initiative holds strategic importance for the nation, as the successful identification and potential exploitation of this deep sea mineral resource could significantly enhance national revenue, diversify and mineral resource base, and promote sustainable economic growth. Right now, we are at the prospecting stage. They have not yet started the exploitation. So currently, they are doing the surveys, the investigations to know whether the quantity of the nodules that we have in our EEZ. And after all the analysis, we will work on the licensing proper, which will be the exploitation. But as we speak right now, it's only exploration. Sand dredging, licensing, and resource management. The department has made considerable progress in regulating sand dredging operations through structured licensing process. Key efforts include zoning and block demarcation, which serve as effective mineral resource management strategies. These systems provide a clear framework for sand dredging prospecting, allowing licensing companies to concentrate their activities within the designated area with high potential, thus promoting efficiency, reducing environmental impact, and enhancing regulatory oversight. Dredging became prominent after the successful operation of Sino Majalak, which invested around the Denton Bridge. The ministry has been able to meet the growing national demand for construction sand while ending sand mining along the coastline. This has supported ongoing infrastructural development projects across the country, ensuring stable and reliable supply of this essential construction material. And let me just report that from 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, we have seen an increase in demand for construction sand, which is a real testimony that there is development going on in the country. On average, the demand was almost about 420-something thousand cubic. Today is over 1 million. And that's a significant increase. This is not only supporting the infrastructure development, but it's also providing the needed revenue from royalties that are being paid to Gambia government, which is also helping government to take care of some of our social needs, supporting our health facilities, supporting our schools. So the energy sector, the mining sector, the petroleum sector are critical in supporting government in its socio-economic drive. And as such, we at the ministry have committed ourselves to help government reduce its dependence on only donor support to be able to have a revenue base that can also support our development agenda. So we'll continue to support government development agenda, and we will ask the support of everyone so that these efforts can come to fruition. The major challenge that we face as a ministry is the issue of illegal sand mining. We have stopped mining activities on our coastlines because the environment has already been destroyed. If you go there, it's an eyesore. And that's why government took the decision since 2023 to ban sand mining on the coastline from Bigelow all the way to Katong. It is illegal for anyone to go to those beaches and extract sand. But this is a serious challenge today that all of us are facing as a government. People are illegally going there at night, and they are continuing to mine on our beaches, further destroying our environment. So we are appealing to everyone to support the ministry, the government, in combating this menace, which is only benefiting few at the expense of the majority, which is not fair. In conclusion, the ministry remains committed to transparency, sustainable resource management, and creating an attractive environment for investors. The government will continue to create the enabling environment for private sector participation through reforms and regulatory strengthening. We remain committed to delivering reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy as a catalyst to job creation, improve livelihood, and inclusive economic growth. After 60 years of our independence, we are committed to end the use of hurricane lamps and candles in our homes and replace them with reliable and affordable electricity supply as directed by our president. Let us continue working together to build a resilient and energy-secure Gambia. I thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Honorable Minister Nani Juwara, for that very brilliant but very comprehensive presentation. I think the sector is a very big sector. The petroleum component of the sector alone is huge enough, and that can even take 2-3 hours of presentation. Now you come to energy, which has to do with both water and electricity and mines. But I'm happy that he was able to do a good job in summarizing all the good things they've been doing. I think there's rapid progress in our electricity expansion. Now, before we proceed to call on the PS will give you maybe 10 minutes to summarize all that has been said in the local language. We'll acknowledge the presence of a few honorable ministers. We have Honorable Minister Hamad Nkeba, Minister for Lands, Regional Government, and Religious Affairs. Welcome, Honorable Minister. Today, I'm surprised. We have a almost full cabinet here today. So thank you, Honorable Ministers, for your support. We also have the Chief of Staff of the President and also the Minister responsible for the presidency. Honorable Maud Casey is also here with us today. We have some friends who are also here today to participate in the Mansa Kunda. Our friend from Nigeria, representative of the Nigerian Embassy, no, the Nigerian High Commissioner is here today. Welcome, my brother. Thank you for your usual support. We have also a representative from the Sierra Leonean High Commission as well, also here with us today. But also we have reps from the Turkish Embassy, the Embassy of the Republic of Turkey. They're here today also to take part in this Mansa Kunda We want our bilateral partners, but also our multilateral donor partners to be attending the Mansa Kunda because they give us a lot of support. As we had a testimony, the People's Republic of China is investing a lot. Turkey is investing. Nigeria. We have a lot of work to do. Recently, I think Nigeria sent 20-something technical staff to come and support the Gambia. So you are partners in development. That is why we always appreciate if we see you attend of our program. So before anything else, I'd like to call on the permanent secretary.
I think every Sisa Kunda will want to have a good Kamara Kunda. Thank you. Ko Minister Mel Bijang and Banko Mol and Luntawal Minata Afu Kabri 1960 kana Afu Kabri 1960 kana 2021. Bokolo Lulo Akofulo asinta 1960 and in 1961. Sabanjao was in 1979 and Chevron Leo was sing. Fulol men sinta Brikama 1 and Serakunda 1 in 1960 and 61 BP British Petroleum wo Leo Colon sing. Ako kabrung Chevron ye Colon sing offshore wala bakono memang ke tinting wakang. Kabra bota wala Colon ne man sing Gambia jang for kabrung fa Petronas ya sing in 2018. 2018 ye Colon follow king sing ika fole Sama 1 and Fulanjao Bambo 1 in 2021. Aka mentandi ko kabri 1960 Colomman sing for 2018 His Excellency President Barola Marokono watandi ko President Barola Marokono kato kawol ketale for Colom Fula Sinta memman sing saji tang sabaning kabri saji tang sabaning common yo atani fananko nga dolal men soto pour ka lasino di dula sailing bari sa inclin dron le company soto men bije A4 lasino ni wo petro no le be woto yo natata ni fananko jani wo nga lais so di num BP la nga di fa Petronas la ani Petrono bari ñu BP ni fa Petronas sai wol mantara ñu banko kan e nyanta men kala yo kele fo fa banta sa Petrono wala bijang e fo laisino be wala bulu fa Petronas kabila do ko ke e kolon fulol sing inata tandiko ita continue la kotake eni la laisino bari nyanta men be kala no la laisino e men di la wato kono yo kele inata laisino inata fonyo wolto sa bari kabriye fonyo fem fe yalon ko wolen kayti koti do ko ani information me yalon ko nsola tala nga jele ko ya be dile janni abe close certificate dile la wolen ka tandi ko say abantale yanta me be kala ya kele say fenten ni tema yo ana tandi fanan ko soto men keta nyin do ko to kabrin 2017 wato men president His Excellency President Baro e bankota wolen yata US dollaro wili taworo wala nim fula ani keme woro tan nani woro wala wala soto nafuloto nyin ko million wala soto nyin nafuloto 7 no yeah it's not written there, sorry, it's not written there. Okay, sorry, it's 70,000 that is there, but I think I'm being corrected, it should have been 1 million. Okay, so me suffering bolo fokang right okay okay so ikata ni nako menyenta se fela no woleng million taw woro wala wili taw woro wala ni fula keme woro tanna ni woro wala dollar american dollar kodo wala sotata kabrin president baro e mankota ni santema so mbota woto anata tandiko sai GNPC la ko GNPC fana be do ko ni kata ko keka kaje ko fana ye dadu nying sansi ni ko to sai e dulal men di la wolen tinto kan ni Mansa Kunda be o kacha kanne le kacha folo ketale sai be damen to sammi be kambe na pour kaje ko ifana ye la sino soto pour ka do ko commence anata ni fana ko African gas pipeline wolen pipeline me be bola ka bona Nigeria kata fu Morocco ani fana ka futandi Europe tubabu tandi ko fanam be o kafo kono na Mansa Kunda me ana ko GNPC lebe lori nyewoto anu pipeline o fana no keda o fana batina essence ni gas wala ko sambonya abe sone yala bankol tema kabo Nigeria kata fo Morocco ani tubabdu fanala o kamala anata tandi ko dulal tandi jitandile o pipeline on taf tala damen to wolen sanyang kaje ko anim poro expansion o par exemple yemen juran mamme sanyang banko kan kaje kuwolbe fetala nyola nyamen pour ka do ko ni sone andi wolen dula foloti bar dula fala jaw fana ka bato kunko fana biyen na tara dula folo man betea sa bato kunko fana biyen pour que dula fala jaw atandi fana ko GNPC be ila do ko kafukanne katara banko la dula mumeto wo kamala inata petrol station fula yewol yele esau ani base tundol la bari be do ko bakana ko teke ela fajara service station me alon ko kawribe sela de dala badil hiding highway nying o dulani ya tianu bar sa ya de da kule o fane do ko commencer le anata tandi fananko GNPC ye système so ka coupon système ka tiketo ledi pour essence ka sanne ye tiketo di ni futar essence pour essence soto ka tan ko GNPC même finance ke betata bakel anyonte banko kan nimboto auto kata courant la ma fon la nawek atandi fananko His Excellency President Adama Barrow alama sakunda ya tandi ko elafta gambe dulamu me ye courant soto nyin sannala 2026 bare do ko ni kata ko ba ke kanne me atandi ko be kemo kono si dila tan kononto do sotolale janni nyin sa e banna inshallah o do ko fana bakana ni kata ko anata itandi ko programme fana ndo be ka fo compact programme wo World Bank ani African Development Bank itelle bo ko koma nyindung inata menje ko mo million keme saba nani Africa tundo kan ilafta courant futandi la wallama wo kamala inata Gambia fana tombon Gambia fana dabo ko kono an so mbo do ko fana kanne o kata ko kanne jam fatatole kaytol me be nyanta pare pour o fana ketale inshallah mbodo ko fanan timmandilale anata tani fanan ko His Excellency President Adama Barrow la Maroka kono anata fo alama Kunda ko mol sema ko nyaaw nyaay fanan semen kino yoke bawo tundo dol bije kurama futaje Mansa Kunda fanan nata tay fama ko million keme lulu me ko wole lundila pour kaje ko kuran futata dulal me masoto wo dulal wala lowa fuladu Nyamina East, Nyamina West, Lower Salum, and Upper Salum. But our fananto, anata itandiko, Dulal Bije, Membiko Jinak, Kuran la Futoje, Abe Koleala, Sanyanta Fenlo Menko Mini Grid, Walling, Sayetol Be Fansun Kuran Sotolole Fawene, but I member Mealonko Wallem Melbo Tundola, Abe Marco la Puri Finance Kuran Soto. Wakamala, Soto, na fulo ni Manyanta Dunoto, Ngawo Sotole, Kabo UNDP Bulu. So do kol ba pour kaje ko fanan sotola dula me fanan ko jawla wo fanan bo e fan sun kuran dula de dale bar nyin sifa na ke nyama narile anin sara demba toro yo abijele ka tandi ko kuran so soto no soto nyala na man ken wekti so mbol pota je ka tandi ko me kuran fanan ka bondi dula ni ka samba dula doto e ka mel londi kawke wala transmission line nyinti 225 kV line yo inaugurate no amamme president Barrow yo inaugurate lafto nyo sambala ka bo soma kata base fana o fana ben ferol to mel landi pour kawoke anata itandi fana ko to nyalen tabiro kele banko kam an musolle kawoke baake o tabiro e ka sinkirol menta pour ka tabiro ke amon bete yana jada kendo do jada kendeato wo kamala masukunda le ferol ni sirol londile me alon ko bajende ko musol la nyanto fanan e bo jibe la ko kono anin kaje fanan ko private sector ye dae keje ka ko clean cooking access waleng sirol tabir law melon ko ite batak la natela musol kan so sifal natila banko ka wa kamala efficient cooking stoves 200,000 wala wili kemefula wala nyo di da banko kan nyin santambilala so ni mo bataje nata tandi ko do ko be banko kan ka courant futandi dula beto e atandi ko projet ko men bo ke kan wala jam ECORIP and the electricity expansion project and in Jib. Wal kamala project will be community willy killing, keme killing and infulai bole le bajala ko wolle courant so nyim banko kan melbe tundolto CRR, URR, NBR, LRR, West Coast and West Coast region. And so do call for mbakan ne and bajala ko janin sango banna dula jamal be courant so tala ngane ko mol melbe wo tundol la ya jele say polo ni julol be city kan pour ka courant dundi mol la ngota mital fana be di kam mol lale mital man ko danaka fembe ka jo men ka jo wala kemelulu wala application fi nawek ne aja man jono munta makoro men sotota kadi Mansa Kunda la Mansa Kunda ya wo kamala ena taja ko mital mol man nyana fen jola je wala na mol ka mita soto kemelul la so bebe keta president Adama Barola marola kono anata itani fananko electricity master plan development but 2021 kata 2040 woye ferol le landi kaje ko nyin courant nyin doko bebe ke ka be kala nyamen ani nakata fanan courant be continue ka soto gambe nyamen jang ate batakela wo ko mala solar plan 23 megawatt ya o doko kele fo jura jambour wobe nawe sabe kernya wobe nawe ko be courant di kan kabo solar plan to anata tani fanan ko tenda menke 50 megawatt wala megawatt talulu solar IPP wo fanan mba kanne sambi mba kumfala ninga kumfa ni company men yo wosoto wo fanan be do ko kala kaje ko wo 50 megawatt yo nati banko kan ni wot bataje be megawatt keme fanan nati la banko kan ani megawatt tan nani o fanan be silo kan ni company bo do ko kan nyimbe ka fome best wala battery storage system ka je ko batteriol me al ko fanan senyin solar 70 ibaje la ko ani suto wala fanan mun an kiloma soda fanan courant se continue no kasoto ka di mol ka bra batoto tata jiola ko ay tandi ko duku jamale be kekan pour ka je ko jio futata mol la o kamala transmission distribution line ol ibol doku kanne ani bo holol fanan be sinkanne dulata taring santé la bankol fanan bo holol be sinkanje o project gol wolen OIC water project the water supply project in Greater Banjul area ka fay wasip me alon ko president fana yo tolola amamme sifo sate kono tandi fanan jam project fanan be makoro ke kan jiol la ma fon la le ni no futala mo jamal la nyim bankun kan nata tani fanan ko nin geology fanan ka do ko kele geology la do ko kula be ke kan jamme mu nena ba jeti wolen ko lasino dita pour kata ba kono jibe kaje ko soto fongol ni muna fongol men bije pour ase banko nafa o kiskisiro ba ke kan ne nyin tembento diko bije la ko o soto fongol na fongol makoro kala ba ke banko e and wol kono walen kanyim batteriol men fote be e deda ran melke deda e solata fengol men naje wol fanam be ko kono jele sand dredging walen ka kenyo bondi ba kono aftandi ko membe keru nun ka kenyo bondi nun tinti wala kan o yetti ñaar jamanati na dandawol la o kamala enata masakuna nata ferol landi yo ko sa ka kenyo bondi ba kono kabri wo kala nak lasino di sino majilak jal bakla ni aji be dantim bridge to lebe nu je ka kenyo bondi bakono kabri yo je aje ko o atata nyamale say na ta laisin saba bolo di ko la pour ka je ko kenyo kana fo kenyo la nyim banko kan katum be aje le do ko be keri banko kan o kamala kenyo kamenke banko la nyato ta nafa mbere wolon ni tra nyim fero ni lebe laring ani be ni do ko la na tata ni fanan ko be continue la ka ñini ndiroke mineral la mel be ñim banko kan an wa kamala ni company jamale be do ko la kaaje ko gawo ñini ndiro ko continue wala pour ka fam muna fam wala wa kamala ya tandi ko kum fadula ka tandi ko bala dandawol la comme bika kenyo ngi bije kote ke bari a continuer tele mulba ke kan ani matra ke ka silola ka tan ko ni mo moje o ma fon le be kenyo biola be dinko sinda amanki kontrolle Mansa Kunda le bula wala yo be nyo makoy banku din kende yakan kaje ko musifa ko ayedang kanake inshallah yo so kuma wala kum fadula tandiko ala ministry ni Mansa Kunda ila ta jelal ko nimbe na soto fengol marala je ko nga mara silo la mealon ko transparency le wala ko min kaje ko mobe ya long mba mara ka nyame ku kana mabo akana no kunje bo kanne anin kaje ko mel kana investor mel bina jang pour ka doko ke banko kam fana yaaje ko Mansa Kunda lu walni sato menda abe na falale fo e sonan sa difference nawo doko ke gam nyim banko kanja yo wa kamala ana ratandi ko nyin sanji taw woro kabri independent laf ngaje ko molka courant ika lampol soto mena nyin courant lampo ani courant lampo nyin lampol sondolo le kamelta buna ko dal kon lafta way dang wa kamala president his excellency president Adama Barrow a tandala ko alafta courant e futa dulal beto wala tinna kabra futa kiyang o kita ku dima balti ka don kabra Mansa Kunda ta kuta ka tandala ko lafta kiyaye courant soto so kamala a contanta ni do ko be keri pour kaje ko gembo mu courant soto insanna la ni len ko mo dima thank you
abarka nakamara Kunda ko yakata bake yes why is Modo Diouf is here. You have a candidate for JRTS Mandinka News. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Now we are heading somewhere. Before we open the floor for questions, I'd like to have a brief introduction of the team. We'll start with the director of GNPC, Mr. Njai. If you can just tell us your name and designation, then we move on to...
Thank you very much. My name is Babu Karnjai. I'm the Managing Director of GNPC.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Lamin Kamara, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Petroleum, Energy and Mines.
Next, from Petroleum Commission.
My name is Jerry Barrow, and I'm the Director General, Petroleum Commission, responsible for the regulation of upstream and midstream petroleum activities. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Aliu Jao. I'm the Director of the Geological Department, Minister of Petroleum, Energy and Mines.
Thank you, Mr. Jao. So we have the mics. Mata. Ramatullah will support you. Why is Ramatullah? Get one mic and stand on that side. Maimuna can stand on that side. So we take 2 questions from this end and 2 questions. Then we revert back to the minister and his team to answer the questions. Now, we would appeal, and why is the other mic? Are you gonna do this side? Okay. Would appeal for you to ask your questions in a local language of your choice, preferably, if you can. If you cannot, it's fine, you can do English, but preferably if you can do the local language, would appreciate that. So, we start here on this side, yes. Sinbi.
jërëjëf maa ngi tudd Amath Kébé jóge ko Paradise ñi jaajëfal la bu baax a baax ci taxawaay bi nga xam ne yéen a ko nekk def ci wàllum énergie su ma laajtee bi dinaa ñëw ci wàllum sand mining because gis neen fi nga xam ne moo nekk boori Kartong Bunjur Tujereen ñi nga xam ne ñoo fa nekk gisoon neen ci ginnaaw amoon neen ñu ngi loon janoog taskatu xibaar yi di wax ne illegal sand mining mi ngi nekk dem foofu noonu sa biir wax nga ne bokk na ci jafe-jafe bi nga xam ne yéen a ngi koy jànkuwante bot naka ngeen di defee ban jéego ngeen nekk di jël pour daggal li nga xam ne moo nekk wàllum sand mining beneen bi day ñëw ci wàllum pétrole bi because jëmmi jamono ci gannaaw déggoo neen fi coow bari woon lool di wax ne réewum Gambia am neen essence amun essence mu doonoon coow loo xam ne ba léegi xamaguñ fan la coow loolu noonu mujjee bëgg neen nga indi ci ak leeral fan la mbir moomu noonu toll ndax am neen essence suñ ko amee ban jéego la nekk di jël pour jëriñoo ko suñ ko amut it ban leeral ngeen si jox askan wi laajoo ci li nga xam ne moo nekk kàddu yi.
Okay, thank you. My name is Aissatou Keita. So my question has to deal with what is the criteria used in the issuing of mining rights? Thank you.
Okay. Yes. That final question, and then we'll be back.
Okay, man suma tur bi Al Hassan Sidibe maa ngi liggéey akhbar Gambia bil Arabia suma laajte bi mooy suñ seetee yeneen essenceries yi price bi am na ñeneen ñi tam yokkun ko kon ñun xamul ndaa yéen mun ngeen waxal ngeen loolu nit ñi ndaa price essence bi yokkane ko fii wala gasoil bi.
Okay, thank you very much. Commence ko si first question mooy illegal sand mining bi waxoon naa ko fii already. Illegal sand mining buy am Coastal Road ñu ngi liggéey ak police yi pour mun a control this illegal sand mining that is happening. Tey sax tey bu maa ñëw dama tase ak some few individuals dama leen suspect rek confirm ma ko waaye boor boobu leen dee jaar time boobu leen dee jaar dem si garage tipa garage bu nekk boori Salaj am na guddi time boobu la dee jare si kanam tuuti rek by midnight dañoo jaar si boori bij bi foofu la gaay dee jaar balaa suba balaa in the morning rek fekk gaay def nañ seen illegal activity ñu génn the same time sooy ñëw liggéey yooyu ñu xam ne ay pellen dee am ñu wàcce si moto ñu ngi ñibbi ban time la gaay dee liggéey loolu laa dee wonda right now ñu ngi dem xam naa moom suba nga gis leen tamit ak seen peel nga xam ne man day wàcca yépp illegal sand mining la te ministry alone mënu koo saafara mënuñ koo control ñëpp including the communities this is happening within communities te problème buy am communities ñooy njëkk a am seen challenges balaa ñeneen am dal problème ñoom seen boppa ñoo war a taxaw ñu dimbal nguur pour problème bi ñu mën a ko solve ñëpp du mën a nekk si bij bi man mënumaa nekk si bij bi from morning to evening police du fa mën a nekk all the time but the people are seeing those trucks ñu ngi gis trucks yi every day ñu ngay jënd si bij yi foog ñu dimbalante rek every day ñu ngay jënd si bij yi foog ñu dimbalante rek waaye problème boobu mu ngi fa te sun lifi ne sun concern la so we are appealing to everybody to help yi fi diw am naa every day su may julli boobu laa dee ñaan yàlla dama dee jël suma time bi ñaan rek xam naa président bi tamit loolu la dee def waaye pour leeral mbir bi daal gas nañ ay teen si géej ba waaye ba tey amuñ diw bu nga xam ne mun nañoo wax ne am nañ diw amanguñ ko discover nguñ ko gas nañ teen waaye luñ fa gis dafa mel ni misaali diw rek waaye loolu taxul nga ne ko diw laa am mun naa koo jaay so wax boobu wax ngelaw la ok amut moo tax ñu ngi yokkat sun effort pour ñu attract xam nga gis nga oil exploration dafa seer pour mun a drill benn weer rek mun ngaa spend not less than 30 million and over boobu pour gas rek $1 million sa benn activity sax in 1 year can go almost about $100+ million dafa seer nguur mënu ko compagnies yu mag rek ñoo mën a ñëw fii dimbale ñu laay ñu exploration ñu am ci Sénégal ak yeneen countries Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, all others international companies ñoo jee ñëw international oil company ñu am xaalis ñu am dollars ñoo mën a def lii so ñun lu ñoo mën a def mooy maquette ba pare yokka suñ investigation to make sure that data bu ñoo am suñ ko wanee suñ la ko wane te nga nekk international oil company di nga gis sign nga xam ne moom technically di nga wax ne bii moom jar na pour ma ñëw te su loolu leen nekk so tey as we speak am na ay compagnies ñoo xam ne moom ñu ngi ñëwaat dañ demoon bi ñu amee Covid am na compagnie yu bari yi fi exploration bàyyi nañ ko waaye affaire bi moom dafa ceeñaat léegi xëy na yàlla dinañu dimbal ñun tamit ñu am suñ oil suñ ko amee yàlla ñu yàlla mu jëriñ ba mu gën a am solo because am na compagnie yoo xam ne am nañ diw de waaye betee macha allah waaye ñun suñu boos moom incha allah dinañu njëriñ incha allah jërëjëf. And then that side, the criteria. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to be speaking on everything. I'll allow the director of geology to respond to that, if you don't mind. Please. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, dafa am yoon yoo war a jaar soo buggee mining lansin or quarrying lansin dañ am ñaari fànna mining am na ak quarrying waaye Gambia fii yëpp lañ dee wax mining su dee quarrying la normally prospecting du fa dee nekk luy prospecting mooy gestu because like sand gravel bi is outcrop ñu ngi koy gis doo ko dee gestu already xam nañ mu ngi fa like duun si waaye su dee mining la like or dredging boobu nekk loo xam ne da nga ko dee gis loo njëkk a def mooy da nga war a apply lu ñuy wax prospecting or exploration boobu fànn pour research do di research pour gestu xam ñaata moo fa nekka ak the type of minerals su dee xam nga ko dafa am criteria yu ñu lay laaj because da nga war a am technical competence pour undertake that activities mooy sa technical war nga koy am ak financial competence pour dugga si liggéey boobu because dafa nekk loo xam ne du liggéey boo xam ne liggéey caaxaan la du nekk ku nekk moo ko am da nga war a am financial competence soo demee ba identify tamit an area balaa ñu lay pousse boo wax ne demal foofu loi bi lu mu wax section 3 of the Mines and Quarries Act mu ne mineral resources reside with the state mooy state bi moo ko moom waaye si fu mu nekk xaj na suuf soosu am na ku fa sampal néeg o ku fay bay o ku fay jëfandiku balaa government di ko joxe dafay bëgg ñu yëgal kooku su dee kooku dina lose because of yaa ngi dem foofu dafa am lu ñuy wax compensation in accordance with section 85 of the act da nga koy ndàmpaay because yow soo ñëwee pour use foofu da nga koy xañ moom lu mu doon am waaw te government def na gis ne sooy xañ nit lu mu doon am yow itam war nga koy ndàmpaay so dañuy jël ay criteria su dee gis nañ ne mineral booy ut boo bugg a mine mu ngi fa tamit suñ demee ba gëstu yooyu yëpp nga am consent of the land owner or su dee community bi la nga am consent bi tamit dañ lay ebal si National Environment Agency ñu seet ndax liggéey boobu du lor environment bi torop mining in general is destructive waaye sustainable mining that's the slogan of this ministry nañ make a win-win situation where post mining land bi dinañ ko use for other things so dinañ la ebal si National Environment Agency ñoom tam am na ay gëstu yu ñuy def with other stakeholders ñu gis ne ndax mining mun naa dem within the environment so there are criteria soo demee ba at the end nga am yooyu yëpp si lay government su dee mining la la ñu make recommendation pour ministre bi signal la a mining license su dee quarrying tamit basically loolu la waaye lu ma doon bugg a différencier rek mining and quarrying dañ uute su dee mining la da ngay njëkk a def gestu bi soo ko paree da ngay wane da ngay toog government bi ngeen seet ndax léegi mineral resource bu fa nekk jar naay di ngeen ko mën a am na economical value balaa ngay dem si mining phase bi ministre waxoon na ko si sànq si introduction bi soo demee exploration ba pare boobu gestu rek la pour xam resources bu fa nekk xaw ma ndax answer naa ko very well.
Okay. For the petrol price, when we increase or when we reduce, is across the board. Government doesn't differentiate. When prices depending on international oil price, because soon price is dependent on the international oil prices. If prices goes up in the international market, we have no option. Gambia government have been subsidizing oil for the longest time. The prices of fuel has been subsidized in this country. In fact, I'll give an example. Even Nigeria that used to, subsidize fuel, they have abandoned that because it's not sustainable. And government have been doing this for the longest time. Billions have been subsidized. So now our pricing structure is dependent on the international oil prices. When they go up, we adjust. When they go down, we go down. So, and we communicate this to all the oil companies, oil marketing companies across the country. I am surprised that you say, I'm not you have made them koyok, I'm not you have made mom change. I'll be surprised.
Honorable.
Yeah, so
no,
I'll be very surprised, please. Maybe if you can intervene.
Yeah, if I may add on to that. Petroleum price mo wanu degala fana lumo fumo wax waxe moy petrol bi last month fu mu nekk fa la nekk this month waaye diesel bi boobu dafa yokku waaye lu ñu ko war a yokk sax yokkuñ ko loolu dañ ko ba léegi government def ko subsidier moo tax mu toll fu mu toll noonu waaye ëppoon na loolu waaye lu ko honorable ministre wax mooy ne dañ price modèle bu ñu am dafa am international price yëpp nga faa dugal foreign exchange nga dugal everything modèle bi so suñu defee loolu dinañu wan lan la war a nekk price bi boobu kenn defu fa dara kenn yokku fa dara mooy lu war a am waaye suñu demee ba gis ne price bi am na fu mu toll dina xala lor nit ñi government si leen dee ñëw nguur gi jéem koo wàññi tuuti subsidize ko pour bu mu sonal nit ñi waaye lu xew léegi mooy ne pétrole bi yokkuñ ko si weer bi waaye diesel bi yokku na si weer bi différence boobu
waaye PS ngay wax ne am na petrol station yoo xam ne moom ñoom seen boss is up for diesel waaw am na ñoo xam ne moom seen boss yokku so loolu moom ma jaaxal
waaw loolu I think suñoo def seen discount waaw petrol station bi am na rek pour ñu joxee seen discount waaw waaw ñoom mun nañoo ñoo ne waaw dañ bugg a def $1 si cheaper pour customer bi mun a jënd si man ñoo am nañ def right pour def seen discount waaye government price bi moom lii nii la fa taajoo diesel bi moo change na this month petrol bi mu ngi still stay where fu mu nekkoon because si international market bi petrol bi dafa wàññeeku diesel bi dafa yokku
kon loolu baax na ma ku mun a wàññi price moom alhamdulilah macha allah.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum. Ngamol be konto jang nga minister konto mem marata kurang ni jio ni kol bela. Ndede nga nyinin karin dinna soto me alon ko akatanye dawun ko waleti. Adu nga alon atlesi je sena di noma. Wala mi nyinte ko nga sate wala soto jam me alon ko abe in between. Ni na Madiana, Yuna, Sare Pate, Mariama Kunda, yena Brufut. Sate woni abe temale. Bar kurang man soto no je. Ifangle kurang polol sang ya sabana some people ya soto. So sate woni mumela be ni ala mo totalo juwe abe suti ala mo wuli fulalale. Bar sate woni man kurang soto iman jiyo soto. Malam falla hakilitu be je kan ne bang. Falla hakilitu man tara je kan. Anin kurang na on and off men ke wato dolu. Tintinto soto koy. Tintinto soto koy mine sa fa ay jelo ne ka to ngalon ko abadi mabe siri jele ay jelo de. Yo say même fana mo nyinin karoti wala nyinti kurang na on and off. Fana wek si fero ke no mo leba ko be ni ngare ama ya lon ko be maintenance o kala. Isi kibaro dino mo la in time pour mol salon ko kurang be soto e wati kar kurang be talal. ngo kumo le soto don ka futandal ha yalo courant bi jele ndele polo sak nga connect glado to anata ya last 2 months back ayente de fangal batande back karne 7 sita e baka tele jibe no ila firjo mukata so inata na makoy ngam kumbota je inata transmitter sambana je wo fanande wo sita da handi jam fande ya fajan so inata transmitter sambana melia courant soto wala ka courant soto normal bari dol wol ma soto so ni de asoto e bonyo ma soto han sa e ma soto abaraka back
on this side nobody on that side on this side yes okay
Good evening. My name is Yahya Jao from the West Coast Radio. Honorable Minister, you have reiterated in your statement that a lot of oil drilling have been conducted, but without discoveries. Could you clarify to us what specific technical or geological methods that prevented you from discovery so far? And of course, what new strategies or technologies have you employed to increase our chances of getting oil in this country? My second question is, in 2025, 2 months ago, your ministry clarified a statement, an audio message that was from the ex-president regarding our oil and energy sector. And you talk about border proximity and resource sharing. In the statement, it mentions that the 2021 well drilled just 500 meters from Senegal borders, which of course found no commercially viable oil. Given this proximity, Honorable Minister, what safeguards or monitoring systems are in place to ensure that any potential cross-border resources are not exploited without the knowledge of the Gambia government? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I will go to the Tintinto question. Your Excellency, somebody's asking me a question about what we are working on. There's a particular village within the GBA. So the guy, and that is part of our discussions right now, to be able to electrify their communities. So with your permission, I'll just tell him now we are working on something with you to be able to electrify that community. With who? With the Economic Councillor, and that's the People's Republic of China, are also working with us to support us to electrify 44 communities within the Greater Banjul area. And Tintinto has been identified to be part of that number. Niaje nga fa angale kangal because ni mene be doko lafta wala ya faham wala ma nyinte ko mbe kata ko ke kanne andu ning Chinese government be doko la le ifana e bo e lafta la kam makoy mbe kurang janjanjiro menke kan Gambia banko kan comme un président lafta la nyame la fa sol be le sukela so Tintinto bo dol la kono la andu ngawa ida dundle nyim projet ko menga ning Chinese government ba doko kan pour kaje ko alfan si courant sot no before end of 2026 and inshallah wo bekelal and then on and off to nyala sometimes aka sotle and wato dol aka manele bari niaje dokol men bebe kekan be transmission line min be construct kan doko mambang yalo development is a gradual process abe boka keno signakili domandin neng kata kolbe ke kan nyim banko ko ni alon nun courant be dikra dantan dinaton ba ni ajibe sayen courant janjanta dilal beleto ayatuna ko molla sulo fanan kaftale nun to ni tara ko da jama kon mita killing wala kataraje friji killing sutio da mala bun kono fana katare wolto bar say ni tara ko dal kon la e a condition dilal beto frijo mo bela bun kon ntol be tuba wer sa electrical iron be ko lo use ayatuna demand ni increase ta baake so nin kada kolbe keka wala mo kaje ko nga courant sembo warandi at the same time fanan ala quality fanan improve bare domandin nang because la doko nying ada ko le batale ko din dinte so na ni mol diam so e nying ko di ba men bedi gambe fen ko gambe government pour que courant samba war hali say courant problème man solve banku dol nyinin ka ndolbe men ke kan ning sudata men ni ngo soto nu courant ta yawo ban nañu banko kan ba yalon e ko yaade kuto dong diata en bari amante wor soto so men nakata ko kalale kaje ko nga kafunyo kan kaje ko courant la qualité ñi nga improfonde and every day nga ñim projet ko men be foten e nata pour ko le support kaje ko na courant la système moy ay normal so mbe dan la dro ngal hakke dani ale sabraw tanye demanding abe nyamena 2017 amantere wonya say abe nyamen 2018 akaftale 2019 akaftale so demanding by the time mbe futala komi nga hemeda menna modo ba fale ko kaspa dala ko lada bari courant on and off woman soto abaraka baki. So the second question that has to do with oil, I'll allow the Director General of Petroleum Commission to respond to you, if you don't mind, sir.
Maybe before that, let me just add on the electricity one. Jani bita Director General ya, fulkata niko kabri honorable statement of fair Mansa Kunda fair jamal lundi kaje ko dula be courant soto by end of 2026 alanga for jande wakama the compact problem and other project come I emphasize in People's Republic of China for the project of Kekang and Mansa Kunda found be na flow bondika ne kaje ko mantra mo batulam dulal mel fana ma soto fana nga kata koke kaje ko ya soto le ngo fana fo jande ko ro sa en ka budget ko no le pour kaje ko dulal mel ma soto fana Mansa Kunda se ma ko ro futani ya soto ro kamala fana me men kan nyaaje master plan nga men fo to yalla be courant ka bodamen to banko ka o be tole bari fana ka do bondi bantala bankol tole même buko Sénégal ani Guinée saka Guinée ta surtout Guinée ta hydro ono meno ka dadi yatal ka Mansa Kunda ka to ko mbege ka courant sotale akana ke on and off ti bara da fane sone ya molye so ko to ko fana mbol kan pour ka tan mole alo nyaal OMVG OMVG fana ko to be da do constructeur pour ka ko o fana bonan ba kono la ay courant sonati mole ani ñin solar plan nga mel fana be fo kombe o leke ka o bebe wala kono kato ñin solar plan ñin dam courant men ka bo jio kono wala sonata ka tambi generator ti so wala na nga ñatili ngo do ko pour ka ko ay soné amol fe baraka.
Good evening. In relation to the question about the technical or geological factors that might have prevented Gambia from finding oil, to answer that question, the existence or whether there is oil or not in a particular place has been decided millions of years ago by nature. Nature, through geological processes, creates or forms oil on the ground. So that decision has been made millions of years ago all over the world. What we do is to locate that oil. And there are, very well-established methods and techniques of finding that oil all over the world. It's just similar to, diagnosis of, for example, malaria. Yeah, diagnosis of, say, malaria. There are very well-established all over the world of diagnosing almost every disease nowadays. Similarly, the steps or the technical steps required to look for oil are very well established and they are globally applied. That is what has been going on in the Gambia, like Honorable said, resulting in the drilling of 2 wells over the past 5 years. In order to, before a well is drilled, first, extensive, research, desktop study is undertaken. Honorable mentioned data, the volume of data that has been acquired over the past, 5 years. I think we've got about 8,500 square kilometers of 3D. That is a fundamental requirement to attracting investment in the petroleum sector. When companies want to look at the prospects or the possibilities of investing in a particular country, the first thing they ask for, what is the level of data acquisition in that country. Honorable said, we have gotten that data. we have gotten good quality data. Once that, data is, available, the companies would normally undertake study, geology and geophysical studies on the data. From the data, it is possible to identify features often associated with petroleum. These features have been used in many parts of the world to, drill wells, and those wells found oil. So the question around whether we have oil or not can be answered with the simple, response that the features that are required, the geological features that must be present for oil to be found, have been found in the Gambia. That is why we believe we have oil, and we are not alone in that belief. Many international oil companies with, hundreds of years of experience have similar belief. He mentioned BP acquiring the licence a couple of years ago. BP had been doing this over, decades or generations, and have perfected, the techniques of finding oil. For them to come into a particular country, they must be convinced that there is oil. Because when they come, they end up spending tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not a joke. They are people's investment. So for such companies to come into the country with all the, human resources, the capacities, the technologies, they must believe that there is oil. So the geologically, there is nothing preventing us, to answer your question. Geologically, the elements or factors or the petroleum system have been already confirmed that it exists in the Gambia. In terms of techniques, I said it. No technique is stopping us from finding oil. Looking for oil it's a lengthy process, repetitive process. Countries have drilled for decades, some have drilled for generations, some drill for centuries, looking for oil. In Senegal, for example, Senegal have been exploring or drilling wells since 1956 or so. It is only in 2014 that they made a major oil discovery. So, and this is similar to Ghana. Ghana started earlier. Ghana made a first discovery, I think, in 2010 or 2007. So the fact that you haven't found it yet doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Yeah, what is important are the presence of fundamental geological features often associated with oil. We have those ones in the Gambia.
Thank you.
So there are no geological factors preventing us from finding oil. All we need to do is to drill more wells, and hopefully we'll find oil. Honorable said 2 wells over the past 4 years, compared to many countries in the region, is a huge achievement. Not many countries have done 2 exploration or wildcat wells.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the issue again, it may be new to us, but the oil industry had existed for generations or even centuries now in many parts of the world. It has, again, very, clearly and well laid down principles of its governance, internally as well as across international boundaries. The question of sharing of resources is nothing new. When you go into the law of the sea, it clearly, they call it the Bible of the sea sometimes, it clearly defines the relationship between states and the way they use, resources offshore. it clearly states there are also very clearly laid down steps to be taken before the question of unitization would come in. You mentioned that the Gambia's last well was drilled 500 meters intentionally. And this principle is not uncommon in the industry. Between Mauritania and Senegal, around 2016, when discovery was made in, gas was discovered in Mauritania by Cosmos, the same company acquired an acreage or a block within Senegal just to find out whether those resources extended into Senegal. When they drilled into Senegal, it was only after they drilled into Senegal and found that that part of the area also had oil or gas. That's when they started the conversation. It is in their interest. Similarly, in 2017, when FAR came into the Gambia, they had already found oil in Senegal. FAR was a pioneer in the discovery on the Senegalese Sangoma field. FAR got that license, I think, in around 2008 or 2010 or thereabout. When they acquired the block, the licenses, they attracted investment, drilled in Senegal. After discovery in Senegal, they came into Gambia to explore the same phenomena, whether those reserves or the reservoirs have extended into the Gambia. They drilled 2 wells, from which no oil have been found. The only question, the question of unitization only arises when you find the first step to that conversation would start with you finding, that those reservoirs are straddling across the borders.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's clear.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to also acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Director of Press and Public Relations, Office of the President, Mr. Sankano, who is also here. Welcome, and thank you for your support. I think that brings us to the end of this program. And as we've heard from the Minister and his team, the investments done in the energy sector by His Excellency the President Adama Barrow since he came to power is part of his broader vision to transform this country, to build what we call the foundations of development, which I call the 3 I's: infrastructure, institutions, and the instruments. Across all the sectors, energy, education, healthcare, road infrastructure, you name it, the President is building the foundations of transformative development. With the challenges you are facing, population growth. In 2010, only 54% of the population live in urban Gambia. Today, 65% of the people live in urban. But urban Gambia was not built to house 65% of the population, particularly to meet their energy needs. So that's a clearly challenge. But also our lifestyles. 10 years ago, we were not using microwaves, electric irons, kettles, these big TV screens. So we've changed our lifestyles. And this planning should have been done by the previous government. Now this government is building the foundations so the next generation will not have what they call electricity problem. When I was growing in the Gambia, we used to call GUC Gambia Useless Corporation. Then they brought MSG, we said Munge Soga Garao. I don't know if you remember that one. But nobody is giving such names to NAWEC because NAWEC is performing. They are delivering. So thank you, Minister, and your team. That's it for today's Mansa Kunda. Thank you for coming. Minister, thank you very much, you and your entire team. The ministers present today, our diplomatic corps, partners, senior government officials, thank you. This is Mansa Kunda. Next week, on the 22nd, not clear is the 15th, is Sangmari, so no Mansa Kunda. 22nd, we have the Ministry of Interior to come and talk about internal security. Mbadingol ala barka bake mbaltin to lambal jela bi programme kumata diata ministre e nyin karol jabi ay kacal fo kacal mialon ko wolong ala ministre min ke kam pour kajo korangoni jobunda nga kafu molti korangoni josoto ngalo be kumata nyin karol ketal aya moyle mbokay di len gërem di len santa programme bi jeexna ministre bi waxna ci li nga xamne lola mo liggéey ci jawri ñam moy mbiri ndox ak courant waaye tamit si mbiri énergie ak petroleum tey nag waxtaan bi am na solo di gërëm ñëpp ñu ñëw ministre yu fi teew te senior government officials advisors directors ñëpp a ngi fi waaye ñi nga xam ne tamit ñooy seetaan kër ñu nekk Gambie fi ak bitim réew comme niñ ko defee rek programme bi mu ngi live across almost 5 to 6 channels main channels mu ngi live on GR3 live on Paradise TV live on Star TV GTTV and most of the channels are showing it live so foo mun di nekk tey seetaan nañ Mansa Kunda bi kon di leen gërëm bu baax a baax ministre jërëjëf ba on the 22nd di leen jox dig daje di wane ministre mi nga xam ne moo responsible pour interior mooy kaaraange biir réew bi mooy ñëw mooy ministre Sanyang honorable Sanyang jërëjëf di leen jaajëf bu baax a baax jërëjëf the Geology department. Once again, welcome to this episode of the Mansa Kunda